Hey guys, it's RodimusPrimal. I'm back with another video, and today I will be reviewing for you the Transformers Back to the Future crossover toy, Gigawatt. And if you're noticing that I'm having a difficult time standing the box up, is because I had pre-ordered this from Amazon. They decided to send this to me in one of those soft packages, and I thought I had selected to make sure that it was a gift so that they would send it in better packaging, but that wasn't the case. So yeah, the box is crushed, but fortunately this is going to be the one that I'm going to be taking out of the packaging, and the other one is going to be sitting on my dad's shelf because he wanted this toy for the very same reason that I did, being that we love the Back to the Future films, so at least one of them will be still in the packaging. Taking a look at his tech spec here, I love that this is an old school style tech spec. It says Gigawatt's function is a time traveler. You're never out of time when you're a time machine. When Marty and Doc Brown need to ride through time, Gigawatt is ready to fly. And I really love the packaging art on the back here with the flames as the Delorean is traveling through time. And I love the out of time California license plate and even the box art for Gigawatt. And I just, of course, wish that this would have been able to be kept as like kind of a MIB collector's item, but I guess I'll have to find another way to store or display it. So without further ado, let's get this guy out of the packaging. So sit back, relax, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and let's transform and roll out. Consider supporting the channel on Patreon, becoming a channel member, or purchasing some merch on my Teespring store today. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to show you guys here was some of the stuff that comes in the packaging. You can see the backing of the packaging has the Delorean there with a lot of technical stuff, and it's got the flux capacitor there, and it says 1.21 gigawatts, or gigawatts, however you want to say that. And it also comes with an instruction manual that really reminds me of the original instruction manuals that came in the packaging back in the 80s. Of course, the big difference is it's not in color, so when you fold it out, you can kind of see that it has the images for the instructions, but they're not in color like the original G1 comics, but they did take the extra step to try to make it feel very much like a G1 manual, and I think that's pretty cool. Taking a look at the car though, man, you can see how much detail has been put into this DeLorean to make it look and feel very much like you'd expect. They went the extra mile, they really did, with the wiring going across the car, from the paint applications that they did for the electronics in the back of the car, as well as the vents, and of course where the flux capacitor is. And it just looks so good, like all together. They even added the license plate on the back that says "Out of Time from California," and it also has the taillights painted as well. And if you're taking a look at the car, you can kind of tell that it's basically sideswipe, reshelled, and there isn't much of a difference. Of course, there's his head with the goggles, and the other thing is that the storage for his gun is on the bottom there, and I think that's a really good place for it because it keeps the profile of the car and is a very good place for storage. And he can roll really well across the table. There is no issues. And the other thing to take note of with the car itself is the fact that they made the windshield and the windows a dark plastic, because the original images that we saw of the DeLorean were a clear plastic, and you could see all the innards of the car, and it didn't look right, and everybody was complaining about it. But with this darker plastic, you can see how much it looks a lot better with that darker plastic. It's still clear, you can kind of see some of the inside, but it does still look good. Now, one other thing I do want to make mention of, and I ragged on Hasbro and Walmart about this, was that it initially was a Walmart exclusive with the first 1,985 pieces for the year 1985, and it sold out in 30 seconds. But fortunately, they have made it more available, and I believe that you can get it from GameStop. There are other online retailers, but I'm not sure if it's still in stock. Now, I do want to show you some of the accessories that it comes with. You can see that it comes with the lightning rod hook that was used at the end of the first movie, which we can here plug right where the flux capacitor is. And the whole idea is that the car drives and, catches lightning. The only thing about this hook, you can kind of see it, is that the plastic is warped. And I was really upset about that. And I wonder if it has something to do with the fact that the packaging was crushed. And, it's just, it might have been one of the things that had fallen victim of the shoddy packaging that they did from Amazon. But here, just plugging it in, the whole idea is that the hook is driving at 88 miles an hour. Once it gets struck by lightning, it'll shoot the car back at 88 miles an hour through time, back from the year 1955 to the year 1985. That was the whole premise of the first film. Bringing in the second accessory here is Mr. Fusion, which was used at the end of the first film and as well as the beginning of the second, but it plugs in right here. But my problem is, you can kind of tell, is that it doesn't stay very well. And I have to kind of push pretty hard in order to get it in, and it sometimes if I shake it, which it's not doing right now, sometimes it'll fall off, and I think it's just a poor accessory, at least as far as like how it's connected. But the whole thing is with Mr. Fusion is that you can put garbage into it, and it powers the flux capacitor because the car was converted in the year 2015 to be able to fly because the wheels can fold in, like you can see. And boy, does this look really cool. Like, it's just the whole idea of a flying car. Of course, that's how they ended up time traveling through to the year 2015 into a future which did not happen because we don't have flying cars, unfortunately, because, well, I guess current events and everything else under the sun tried to prevent that. But just look, you just can tell how cool this looks. Like, having be able to, have the car fly, and then of course it can land and drive, which they were still able to do in the film. And there you can see how easy that Mr. Fusion pops off. Now, while they were able to get a lot of the detail work for the DeLorean itself, there are some details, of course, that, some fans might notice. Of course, right on the front of the grille, you'll notice that the logo for DMC is not there. I believe that is the company that made the DeLoreans, and unfortunately, I wonder if that might have been a copy or trademark issue, but obviously it's not there on the front grille. But I'm sure someone's going to come along with a label or something like that to put onto that in order to remedy that little detail. But other than that, just the whole car just looks really cool overall in general. And the other thing is the DeLorean here, open up these gull wings, because that is the thing with the DeLoreans. They were cool and noted because that the DeLorean door wings opened up, but you can kind of see the robot bits on the inside, of course. And it still looks cool to profile. I'm going to open up the second door. And just from a distance, it just looks really cool with the gull wing doors open. And I'm going to close them back up here. Now, for a comparison, here is my customized Siege Sideswipe, which you can see the work that I've done to him, that I added Toy Hacks labels as well as non-F parts and a little bit of paint as well, in order to make him an Earth-style car. You can also see the differences between Sideswipe and Gigawatt, because they basically reshelled Sideswipe into Gigawatt, and you can kind of see that they're very much the same robot underneath, with the differences, of course, being in the head and, of course, the outside of the car. But a lot of the detail work is there, but both of them look great when sitting next to each other. Now, getting into the transformation itself, well, of course, one of the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the blaster. I'm going to put that to the side. Then what we're going to do is we're going to open up these panels here, of course, for the legs. And then we're going to open up the gull wing doors. And one thing I want to take note of, and some people have broken their copy, take a look at this little panel right here. Some people I've seen actually have broken their copy of Gigawatt just by trying to transform it and not taking note that that piece connects right there in order to make the DeLorean as flush as it is. And so in order to transform it, you're going to need to untab it from the rest of the body. The idea is that the wiring is connected like it's supposed to be. So I'm going to untab both sides. And then once those two are disconnected, then you're able to open up the arms, and you're not going to have to worry about them breaking, because again, I've seen a lot of people break their Siege sideswipe. So I'm going to fold out the legs like so. Going to push down the vents, and then we're going to pull down feet. This, and close up the panels, flip the body around. Then we've got the lower portion done, form feet and legs. Then we're going to form arms and fold them out, fold out the hands. Then we're going to turn the tires in. And something to take note of here, this something is really weird with the transformation, is like it seems to be a little bit of a clearance issue as you're transforming it. Like as it comes down, like the head like seems to like have a hard time like passing by if there's a little bit of interference there. And the other thing is that midway through transformation, you need to open up the flux capacitor like this. And once you push it through, then it folds out. That becomes the chest plate, and then the chest comes down. Now, before you do that, you do need to fold in the tires. And what that does is that creates the peg in order for the shoulders to connect to the chest. And so that has to come down next. And then once the chest comes down itself, you can bring in the shoulders, and everything has to tab together. One of the things with War for Cybertron-esque toys is that there is a little bit of tabbing clearance and things that need to connect together. But once they have tabbed together, you have Gigawatt complete. And I gotta say, he is a pretty cool looking robot. There is a lot of detail on him, of course. Now some people might note that there might be some plainness to him. Of course, he's kind of gray all over, but take a look at the detailing on the actual chest. Is like, it's kind of like got this scratched look to it, and it looks really good in person. I know some people were complaining about the stock images, but I do wish his shoulders had some decals as well as his shins, and maybe Toy Hacks might be able to remedy that, but it just kind of looks kind of plain without anything there. And in vehicle mode it's fine, but in robot mode it just kind of looks very plain. Getting a closer look at his face and in his chest, you can see it's a very similar to Sideswipe, but it's got those goggles, and it has the dates from the Back to the Future films on the flux capacitor to commemorate that whole idea there. It's got 2015, 1955, and of course the year 1985 from the dates that they had time traveled to in the first two films. Now, bringing in his accessories, I'm going to bring this lightning rod hook, and we're going to hook this to the side of his arm like so, and there it goes right into the peg, very much like any Siege style toy with the 5mm ports, so he can have a lightning rod hook. And on top of that, we're going to bring in his blaster, which is kind of reminiscent to Optimus Prime's blaster, and then we're going to bring in Mr. Fusion. And what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to take Mr. Fusion and pop it right on the top here so that he can hold it, and it can go kind of just wedge it on there just like this, so that you basically have a Fusion powered rifle, which you're going to place in his arm like so. And he looks pretty cool with his weaponry. And to bring in some comparisons, here is my customized Earthrise Cliff Jumper with his glass gas gun. And of course, I've painted up his arms and his legs. And just so you can kind of see the size comparison between Siege, what a Sideswipe and Cliff Jumper. And even though they're both deluxes, that's kind of the price point thing. And to bring in the Doc Brown of Transformers, I'll bring in my customized Earthrise Wheeljack. And then my customized Earthrise Optimus Prime. And Earthrise RC, which of course I've customized as well. And I wanted to bring in something with her. The whole reason why I brought in Earthrise RC was because of something that happened in Back to the Future, because she has a hoverboard. And of course, if you remember Back to the Future Part 2, Marty McFly borrowed the hoverboard. And so we're going to try and do this whole Back to the Future Part 2 scene, which of course you could see the holes on the bottom of his feet are not exact, but you know, you can kind of reenact the scene here, have him flying around, so he's trying to get away from a robot version of Biff. Maybe we can say that Runabout and Runamuck are since they're the Beavis and Butthead of Transformers, maybe he's flying around and trying to get away from maybe they're the Biff of Transformers. So that would be kind of a cool thing just to see in particular, but it is still a neat feature, even though you can't quite do that with the actual toy. And with a final comparison, here he is standing next to his mold mate, which is Siege Sideswipe, which you can see how much, again, that they have reshelled completely in order to make them very much the same toy. You can see that I've customized my Siege Sideswipe to make him from a Cybertronian, vehicle into an Earth vehicle, but it's still at the same time, the differences between them are, quite astounding in how much work that they did in order to make Gigawatt, a Delorean out of, an already existing mold. Is quite a feature in and of itself. But overall, I just really enjoyed how much work was put into this, crossover toy. And I think Gigawatt is definitely worth being part of your collection. Even if you're not familiar with the Back to the Future films, just having a time machine, time traveling Transformer is just a very cool concept, even though it is a reshell of Siege Sideswipe. Overall, it's a fantastic toy, and I think it should definitely be part of your collection. But I want to know what you guys think. What do you think of Gigawatt? Are you are you able to find it in stores? Maybe you might have been able to find it at your local Walmart or anything else like that. Of course, leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Be sure to thumbs up this video and subscribe. I have many more Transformers discussions and retrospectives like this, so stay tuned for all that. And as always, guys, until next time, till all are one.